really liked this movie, but definitely a few things I didn't care for. Let's talk about the positives first, though. I liked how they didn't pretend how ridiculous this was. You know how most animal movies and stuff like that, like shark attack movies and alligator movies, they just pretend that, that's very common for sharks and alligators and stuff like that to attack people, even though it's not. It's a very low percentage of shark attacks, actually. You're more likely to get in a car crash than you are to get attacked by a shark. So one of the first things we hear in this movie was that, why would a lion attack people for no reason? I think it's somewhat of an explanation. It's kind of silly. Where they're like, oh, the poachers killed his pride and he wants revenge, so he's just, killing all humans. Because it's a lion. It doesn't, you can't tell what ones are poachers and what aren't. It's just going to kill everybody for revenge. It's kind of like Cujo. Because they get stuck in a car, a little water. But it isn't the entirety of the movie. They're in and out of the car, different situations. But a lot of it is spent stuck in a broken down car that they crashed. So it's kind of like Cujo, but better than Cujo, because Cujo was kind of boring. They also have their Uncle Martin, who gets attacked pretty early in, but he doesn't get killed. So I knew either, he was gonna die from like blood loss, and it'd be one of those deaths where everybody's sad and says like his final words and his eyes close and that's the end of him. Or he was gonna do a sacrifice death, and that's what they did. He sets it on fire when he realizes that the gas is leaking to try and kill the lion while he's inside the car. But the lion survives. I also get this throwaway line that leads to nothing, isn't acknowledged or anything. The only thing it really matters for is that scene and that scene only, because it starts a fight. They convince these poachers to help them get help since the lion's attacking them. Their car's broken down, so obviously they can't do shit about that. So they want the poachers to go take them away so they're safe. But the poachers open the door, and Martin's in there. And we get a line that is just so dumb. I don't know if this is a real thing or not, but it was talked about earlier in the movie. There's a thing called anti-poachers. That's what the little girl said. They apparently kill poachers to protect animals or whatever. And she read about it online. Well, we find out Martin's one of them. And he killed 3 of those poachers that were going to help them men. So it starts out a big fight. Then the lion comes, kills all the poachers. Eventually they get the keys and they escape. Except for Martin, because he had that sacrifice thing I just talked about. Then they did something I also predicted they were going to do. And they have the other lions attack the bad lion. Earlier in the movie, we find out there's lions that Martin has been raising from birth. And he also says they're tutorial. They'll fight any lions that go near their pride, because that's just the way of the jungle. And Idris runs all the way to the lions, and of course they attack the other lion. But not before him and the lion fight for quite a bit. But he barely gets hurt. It's crazy. The lion's on top of him, attacking him, and he barely gets hurt. There's also this one goofy thing that reminded me of like an older game where they have those quick time events where he's stuck under the car and he just keeps kicking the lion back. Like, he just kicked the lion away. It's coming back. Then he kicks it a few more times. Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's coming back. It's like something that would happen in a game. Eventually, the movie ends with something that happened earlier in the movie where we saw a picture of her mom painted in a certain way. I don't remember the exact type of art and paint they did, but they end the movie with a picture of all three of the people on the cover, painted the exact same way the mom was. Also thought the best detail that they don't just straight up acknowledge is that the dad, he just dissociates from reality. His wife that they were having trouble with, and they broke up, or divorced or whatever, and she died a few years ago. So later when they're talking about the one kid's art and stuff, all he can bring up is something from a few years ago, nothing recent. Because he hasn't been paying attention to his children as much as a normal person would, because he's dealing with grief. I thought that was a cool detail. It's not just something they spell out for you, it's something you would know if you've dealt with it before. That's really about it for this movie.